F-150 Lightning is the most important vehicle that's been made in several decades. It's not just Ford's most important vehicle. It is probably the biggest game changer to the entire vehicle industry that I've seen in my 30+ years of life. Big thanks to Ron Lewis Ford for loaning us the F-150 Lightning for a couple weeks so that I could experience just how truly revolutionary this vehicle actually is. It may seem hyperbolic for me to extend that sort of statement to a vehicle that kind of on the outside is largely unchanged from the regular F-150, but I think that is the strength of this truck. The fact that unless you're looking for it, you don't know that this is any different from a regular F-150 until you go to get something out of the frunk. The amount of people who I've had stop me to talk to me about this truck has been something I've never experienced before in my entire life. From F-150 Lightning reservation holders who see the truck and know exactly what it is, to people who see me getting my son's stroller out of the frunk and wonder what the heck did they just witness. This truck actually changes the game and what people think an electric vehicle is capable of. Now, that is not to say that the F-150 Lightning comes with no flaws. It actually does have a lot of issues that I want to bring up in today's video. But on the whole, the fact that this is regularly just an F-150 and it's electrified really makes this thing special. Today's video is actually brought to you by Helix Sleep and their amazing mattresses, which not only am I enjoying here in the bed of this truck, but you could be enjoying at your bed at home, because this could be your bed. I've had a Helix Sleep mattress for over the last, since we moved back to America. They first sponsored Reece and Catlin with one of these mattresses. They've now been passed down to my kids, and now I'm using it here in the back of the F-150 Lightning. My friends, you spend a third of your life in bed, so why not invest in it? And that's where Helix Sleep comes in, because you can go on their website and take a personalized sleep quiz to find out what mattress best suits your needs, whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, front sleeper, or if you like a medium, soft, firm, depending on what you actually want, they'll match you up with it. My wife and I took the quiz together and we came up with the Dusk Luxe mattress, which we have been enjoying ever since we moved to Pennsylvania. King size, by the way, and we have never slept better. Like, one of the things we cannot complain about in our lives is the quality of our sleep, because we have an amazing mattress from Helix. Number one, I love that it's king size. That's just like a personal thing. My wife and I never had a king size before Helix sponsored us, but also the medium firmness just feels right. I sleep on my side, my wife tends to sleep on her stomach, and it works for both of us, which is great. And the best part is Helix delivers your mattress right to your door. And in fact, mine was waiting here at my Pennsylvania house when we got it. And it was the first thing that I did when I moved in was drag it upstairs, unfurl it, and then it was ready to go. And you can try it no risk for 100 nights. It's a 100-night sleep trial, and there are easy returns for you. And they also have a 10-year warranty on their amazing mattresses, financing options, and flexible payment plans so that you can make it fit your needs, both in your sleep style, but also your financial health as well. And I think one of the things that I did not take seriously until I became a grown adult was actually my sleep. It is something to invest in. You spend a ton of time there. It makes a lot of sense to get the right mattress for you. And Helix Sleep makes it easy for you by matching you with the right mattress, giving you a great warranty, 100-night sleep trial, and then flexible payment plans in case that's what you need. And the best part, you go to helixsleep.com/UFD Tech. You can save $200 off your mattress and get 2 free pillows, which I left my pillows inside. I should have brought them out here so I could have been a bit more cozy. But Helix has great pillows as well, and you get them tossed in for free, which is a great value. Again, that's helixsleep.com/UFD Tech, $200 off, 2 free pillows. Big thanks to Helix for sponsoring today's video. Now close me back up, Kyler. I'm taking a nap. It's really cozy in here. Visually on the outside, the only thing that really distinguishes this from a normal F-150 is the lack of a grille and the light bar that stretches across, which some people prefer, some people don't. But for the rest of the body, it looks roughly like an F-150. It's not till you get to the badging back here where it does say Lightning that you're indicated that it's anything but a regular pickup truck. But as mentioned, the one thing that trips people up every single time they've seen me do it around town is opening up this mega power frunk right here, which is incredible. Number one, from a usability perspective, having a trunk on a truck just gives you more usability. And considering this can support 400 liters and 400 pounds of cargo up here, it's actually really usable. But on top of that, you also have access to all of these power outlets up here, which is capable of supporting 2.4 kilowatts of power using the 120 volt outlets, as well as some USB chargers. And then you also have hooks for groceries, an under storage area where you can put ice in case you want a front gate instead of tailgate, and it drains out to the bottom, just like Kyler and I did when we took this F-150 Lightning for a LAN party all across Pittsburgh. And it's one of the key differences from the regular F-150s. You can get regular F-150s with Pro Power Onboard, which allows you to have power outlets supplied to the truck bed as well as to the cabin, which are capable of up to 7.2 kilowatts of power delivery. The frunk on the Lightning adds an extra 2.4 kilowatts and makes it just that much better than the regular F-150s in terms of actually powering things. Now, some of the experiments I've run with this truck include driving while you're actually charging another vehicle. You can still do that, as well as having the front open, the tailgate open, and having power being run from all of the outlets simultaneously and still being able to drive. Ford not cutting power while you're driving is a huge thing in my opinion, and I really appreciate it, especially because we want to take one of these vehicles on our Cannonball for the Cure charity stream this year. And if we're going to provide internet, well, we're going to have it in the truck bed and we need to supply power. And the fact that it still works means we can add in something like a mini fridge. We could have a grill back there. We could have a really great time on this year's charity stream where we try to raise money to cure my son's rare disease, just like we did last year. So Ford, you want to help me with the Lightning? I'd love it. Now, as far as the truck bed, it's pretty standard when it comes to an F-150. It is not an extended bed by any stretch. Specific models do give you this helpful little step up so that you can get into the truck bed. And specific models also offer some payload scales back here so that you can actually see how much weight you're carrying in the truck bed. This Lariat edition does not come with it, but it does come with all of the Pro Power onboard power outlets back here, which include 4 AC outlets as well as a 240 volt outlet for any heavy duty appliances you have, or for even charging other electric vehicles. You could get all of the standard bed accessories that you could for any other F-150. Here on the tailgate, you have the ruler settings in case you want that. But there's honestly not that much to say about the truck aspects of the F-150 Lightning. If you've watched an F-150 review, you have enough information to understand the capabilities of the F-150 Lightning in terms of it just being a truck. Now, there are some things that we need to discuss when it comes to the electrification and the software of the F-150 Lightning, where I have a few more issues. But as far as the utility, you get the truck bed, you get the 400 liter mega power frunk, you have tons of storage, tons of capabilities, and it has a tow hitch like a regular truck. Imagine that. Which I know I might be sounding a little dismissive, but that's kind of the appeal of the Lightning. It is just a truck. It is the #1 best-selling vehicle in America electrified. So the trim package that we have from Ron Lewis Ford here is the Lariat edition. This thing goes for about $70,000 MSRP. And just like an extended cab F-150, you have 3 seats in the back, which are capable of fitting not only child-sized humans, but also full-size adult humans as well. But one of the great things that I really enjoy is not only do you have a spacious cabin back here, but you also have extra storage under the seats for you to put things down here in case you need it. Also useful in the rear is the charging outlets, not only USB-A and USB-C, but you also have a 120 volt outlet back there as well. Up front is similarly just as useful. You have the very large size driver's seat, you have the large size passenger seat that can fit most people, as well as storage nearly everywhere. In the door compartments, there are 2 water bottle holders here. Down here, you have a compartment that you can store stuff. You have a compartment right here for a wireless phone charger and a USB charging. You have a coin slot in case you need to store coins. You have this under center console area here, which is so deep, I can put an entire camera down here. Still so much extra room, as well as some USB charging ports. And then you also have the ability to fold down the shifter, which is available on all F-150 Lightnings, but this one will allow you to have this tabletop surface in case you need to work. There's just so much utility up here at the front. And then even on the passenger side, not only do you get the standard glove box, but then you get an above glove box. And I count no less than 12 cup holders in this truck. Now, specific on the trim edition that we do have ventilated and heated seats, Bang & Olufsen speaker system, the vertical infotainment screen as opposed to the horizontal one that you can find on lower trim levels, and a really nice interior finish. But I think it's time to get inside and talk about some of the things that I actually really don't like about this truck. Now, this is where I think the truck experience kind of degrades a little bit. Ford has done their best when it comes to providing helpful features on the infotainment that make it so that you can understand your truck a little bit better. But coming from the Kia EV6, as well as from some Tesla vehicles, they still have a long way to go to make this a seamless experience, not only for a tech-savvy individual like myself, but I think for the every person. So the issues with the Lightning actually happen on startup. You get this nice startup screen, but what happens on startup is that this is like really not responsive, which is the time where you want it to be usable. Actually going into CarPlay takes a second after boot up. It's about half a minute before I find that the computer on the F-150 Lightning catches up, does its boot operations, and then I can actually use it. It's not ready to go as soon as I get in the truck and turn it on, which depending on your use case could either be super irritating or not at all a problem. Now, Ford has done their best to come up with features that make it actually enjoyable. You have wireless Apple CarPlay, you have wireless Android Auto built in, but the rest of the navigation is like not really intuitive. It took me a while to figure out where everything is. I'm gonna start off by talking about where do I find the settings? I didn't know. It took me probably, 3 to 4 minutes of us touching everything down here, trying to swipe in to realize that you have to tap the truck in order to get the settings. Makes sense after I figure it out, but doesn't make sense coming into the vehicle. But once you're in here, then you have access to the things that you would normally need access to. Whether you're in normal, sport, off-road, towing mode, you can change all of that. You can turn on one pedal driving. You can also change whether or not it has a locking differential. You have access to the cameras, which are all around the truck. In front, you have a camera. In back, you have a camera. You have a camera mounted to the tailgate. You have a camera mounted to the back of the truck. And then you also have a rear view camera on the truck bed. Ford has given you a lot of vision when it comes to what's around here. But the fact that I have to tap the truck to then access it, and it's not a quick menu that I'm able to actually hit from just the regular menu, is a little frustrating to me, especially when I want more vision around. Because this infotainment's so slow, it takes a couple seconds to get to that. Then I have to hit camera, and then if I want to make sure I'm on the right camera vision, I have to change that as well. It is not a seamless experience to use the software on this truck. These are just the quick access menus. They're very slow to respond. They do not instantly come up. But then you also have the deep settings, which again are a little unintuitive. You have nearly everything that you could possibly need for the truck, changing the driver assistance, changing the things on the vehicle. But again, if you want to do it quickly, it's going to take a little bit. It's all touchscreen and it's all very slow to respond. The EV6 was not this slow, and certainly none of the modern Teslas are this slow. I might be being a little pedantic here, but I think it's these small things about the interior experience that can make or break whether or not a person feels comfortable in a brand new experience like this, especially considering the fact that the people Ford is trying to attract with this truck are just everyday people. That's who this is supposed to be appealing to. And when you hide things in menus, you give them a slow computer, you give them unintuitive ways of navigating the menus, you give it a worse experience overall for the end consumer. And I think Ford can do better at this. They've given you everything you need for the truck, they just have not done it well. And that continues to the app experience on the phone. This is one of the areas where I think Tesla still is above and beyond the competition that Ford has some time to catch up. Looking at the Ford Pass app to control the Lightning, it looks like every other vehicle, but the Lightning has way more features than a regular vehicle, and most of them are not present within the app. I cannot set the climate control from within the app. It either does it auto or to last settings, and depending on what I want, that might not be the right thing for me. However, Ford is working on fixing that. Since I've had this truck in the last 2 weeks, there have been 4 software updates to the F-150 Lightning. Now, none of them have actually addressed anything that I've found to be a problem. It hasn't sped up the infotainment whatsoever, but that is another issue. While Ford is trying to perfect the truck, one of the things that's missing from the app is the ability to actually start the software update from within the app. It tells you to physically get out and go to the truck to start the software update, even though it knows the truck has a software update, even though you could actually have enough confirmation menus to make sure that the user knows that the truck is not going to be available during a software update. It doesn't allow you to do it from within the app. So while Ford is trying to make the experience better over time, there's still, even within that ecosystem, things that they can improve. Now, not everything on the Lightning is touchscreen. You do have access to a ton of buttons on the steering wheel. People definitely prefer physical buttons. You have access to that for the side view mirrors, changing those, changing the seat settings, opening the front, opening the tailgate, the parking brake, all of that. Not everything is controlled from the infotainment screen. Driving the F-150 Lightning is great. I love it. So I haven't had much experience with a regular F-150, but I have driven quite a few trucks in my days. I just have to say that this does not behave like a 6,500 pound truck. Even this standard range, which doesn't have a quoted 0 to 60 time that I saw, is stupid fast. It is unreasonably quick for a huge vehicle like this weighing over 3 tons. It breaks traction if you put your foot to the floor nearly no matter what. I'm not even in sport mode, and this thing scares me with just how silent, just how quick, and how deftly it maneuvers. It is truly a different experience in this F-150 Lightning. Now, the F-150 Lightning is actually the first truck with an independent rear suspension, and it gives the truck a very floaty feeling. You don't feel the bumps in the road too much. It kind of just glides along. Add into the fact that you don't have any engine noise, and it's truly a different experience to drive this truck over other vehicles. As far as the battery, the range on the F-150 Lightning, the standard battery, not the extended range, is only 230 miles, which may not sound like a lot, and it probably isn't if you're going to be taking this on road trips, if you need to cover multiple cities, either for your job or for any work that you're doing. This may not be able to keep up with that, especially if you're going to be towing anything, which I'll touch on in a second. But if you're only doing things around town, if you're only going 30 to 40 minutes out to work and then back, honestly, 230 miles is gonna be plenty. It's actually a really decent amount of range for you to charge at home at night and then get up to a full charge in the morning. One of the things that I do want to bring up as a negative when it comes to the charging experience is the fact that Ford in the software does not give you a lot of control over charging. You cannot set the charging speed of the vehicle on a home charger. Tesla allows you to have full control over the amount of amps that your car is pulling. Kia at least gave me 3 different options for all of that, but the F-150 Lightning gives me absolutely no control over it whatsoever, and I just have to go with whatever charging setting it deems is appropriate at the time. As far as the accuracy of the range, the 230 mile range is probably about what's appropriate for most people if you're driving around the city. Here in Pittsburgh, we have a ton of hills, so pulling a 6,500 pound truck up a hill is going to reduce the range more than if you're driving this in the flatlands of Florida. Based on my driving in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten about 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour, which based on the 98 kilowatt hour battery that's in the standard range F-150 Lightning means that I would get around 210 miles, which is pretty close. It's not quite the EPA estimated range, but also, depending on the day, I can go from only getting 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which is what we got when we did the Lightning LAN around Pittsburgh, where we kept the truck on for 7 hours, or some days I've gotten nearly 6 miles per kilowatt hour just because the regenerative braking on the Lightning has been so good that it's put more power back in the battery than I thought it was going to. But then, as far as towing, that's probably the thing that I've seen most people complain about the electric pickup trucks for. The amount of power that's required to tow not only extra weight on the back of the Lightning, but then also the lack of aerodynamic efficiency that a trailer brings really hinders the range on an F-150 Lightning. Now, this isn't as apparent when it comes to the gas-powered version because gas-powered vehicles are already so inefficient that it's so pronounced here on the Lightning. As mentioned, going into towing mode drops the range by roughly half, and that's just with a normal trailer and a normal payload. If you're trying to tow up to the max payload capacity of the Lightning, you're probably going to get less than half the range, which is where you likely would need to consider getting the extended range in case you want to go for any sort of distance. You can see trailer tests all over YouTube. Many people have done it. I don't have a trailer that I could have tested it with. So just using this as a regular truck and not as a work truck has been great for my purposes. But in case you're looking to tow, I don't know if we're there with electric vehicle battery capacity just yet to say that it's an absolute win. But I do think many businesses could benefit from switching to the Lightning for their more domestic operations. For anything that's around town, anything that's local, having the electric version can save you a lot on fuel costs as well as maintenance because you're not keeping up with all of the moving parts of an engine. It doesn't make sense for a lot of businesses to switch to the Lightning for everything, but I think it makes a lot of sense to switch to it for some things. But besides my complaints with a few things on the interior, a few things with the driving, a few things with the range, the F-150 Lightning is just fun to drive. I love getting in this truck. I love spending time in it. I love driving it. I love breaking traction whenever I want. It's exciting. It's a dangerous truck because it can move so quickly, but I think that's what I really love about it. And that comes standard. That's on the standard range battery. This is not the fastest version. I'm actually really impressed by that. You can get this at the starting price point of the F-150 Lightning Pro for only 40 grand, which is not bad. But if Ford ever wants to do like a Raptor edition of this truck, where it's like the performance orientation, those are gonna be scary. I said at the beginning of this video that the F-150 Lightning is probably the most important vehicle to come out in many decades. It honestly is going to change how people approach electric vehicles. There is nothing flashy about this truck. There is nothing exceptional besides the fact that it electrifies the most popular vehicle in America, which for a lot of people is enough. Just having 230 miles of range to get around town, to do local jobs is going to be plenty for a lot of people. This is not going to replace the entire fleet of F-150s out there because the charging, the towing, there are many things that can still be improved from battery technology along the years, but this is the start. This is the beginning of Ford taking EVs seriously and transitioning the entire population to going into electric. I really love this truck for that reason. I very much think that if you don't need to go very far while towing a trailer, this is something to really consider. And the price point makes so much sense. They are not charging a huge premium for the battery version. If you just look at a regular F-150 that has the extended cab that can fit 5 people comfortably, they're actually really price comparable. So despite the software issues, despite the lack of towing range, the F-150 Lightning is a huge game changer for the vehicle industry. I really love it, and I really love the fact that Ron Lewis Ford let us take it for a couple of weeks and experiment with the truck. I really appreciate them providing it for us. You can check them out at the link in the video description. Not only do they have EVs like the EV6 and the F-150 Lightning, but they have regular vehicles as well, which you should check them out in case you're in the Pittsburgh area. Big thanks to Ron Lewis Ford for helping us with that. And with that being said, I hope I can come back to you in a cannonball with the F-150 Lightning. We'll keep you posted on all of that. Name one more important vehicle. The Prius.
PT Cruiser.
The PT Cruiser.